We're going to be going over accounts receivable turnover and days sales in accounts receivable. The accounts receivable turnover is computed with credit sales on top of average accounts receivable. Many firms don't report credit sales. All they report is total sales. So if that's all you have, you can use that. Just be consistent across time, and when you're comparing to other firms, be consistent in the numerator that you're using. We'll then convert the turns, the accounts receivable turnover, into days by taking 365 and dividing it by turns. This is identical to what we did with the inventory turnover when we converted those turns into days, so that part's not new. So let's do the calculation. There's net sales. General Mills doesn't give us their credit sales, so we'll use their net sales. Here's the beginning and ending accounts receivable. Ending of last year is the same thing as the beginning of this year. We add those two together and divide by 2 to get the average accounts receivable. So then we have our sales on top of our average accounts receivable, and we get 13.5 rounded. 13 turns a year is a little bit faster than 12 turns a year, and 12 turns a year was once a month, as we talked about in the inventory turnover ratio. So this is a little bit faster than once a month. Let's convert it to days and see how many days it is. So we take 365 and divide it by turns, and we get just a touch over 27 days. So just a little bit less than a month, which is what we thought by interpreting the turns. This is a measure of productivity and the ability to manage collections. And in order to evaluate it, the best way is to compare it to the sales agreement. How many days did you give customers to pay? When was it due? If your collection terms were net 30, meaning this is owed in 30 days, then we want your collections to be near 30 days. We want your days in receivables to be close to 30 days. If you gave a cash discount, and so your terms look like this, 2% 10, which meant you can take a 2% discount if you pay within 10 days, otherwise it's due in 30, then we would expect that some customers would pay early in order to get that cash discount. So we would expect the average to be less than 30 days, because while some customers would take the full 30, some would pay in less than 10. If your terms were net 60, which is often true if you're selling to the government, because that's what they require, then having days be closer to 60 would be acceptable. So it does depend on what the sales agreement was, what the sales terms were. You can also evaluate this ratio based on the trend over time, and also to the competitors in the industry, which probably have similar sales terms. Let's compare General Mills to Kellogg's to see how they look. So here is the sales for Kellogg's. They didn't give us credit sales, so we're going to use total sales, which is consistent with what we did to General Mills. Let's go get the average accounts receivable. So we took this year and last year, added it together and divided by 2. So that gave us our average accounts receivable. And so we have turns of 10. So turns of over 12 is faster, more turns a year. Turns of under 12 is a little bit slower. So this is a little bit slower than once a month. Let's convert it to days and see how many days it is. So we take 365 and divide it by the turns, and we get 35 days. So that's a little longer than once a month, and once a month would be about 30 days. So General Mills, on average, is collecting 7 days earlier than Kellogg's. So that's a big difference between the two. It may be that General Mills offers a cash discount and Kellogg's does not, but we don't know. We would have to see their sales agreement to be able to figure that out.